Before we talk about the education reform in 19th century, we have to know what is education reform. Education reform is a name given to the goal of changing public education. During the Industrial Revolution, education was not really the main focus of Americans. So many people finish their education before 10 years old because they have to work on farmers and factories. And in the classroom, the teacher always be females and the most of the students are middle or lower classes. Because the rich people will just pay tutors. So this will create a great education gap among those classes. The reform began in Pennsylvania in 1834, when the state started to tax citizens in order to support the school system. This helped to provide updated facility system to allow for more students in the classroom and better equipment for teaching and learning. And here is a video to introduce an important person for this reform.
As the first secretary of the State Board of Education, Horace Mann promoted his new concept that the state is the father of children. He stressed that it was the responsibility of the state to ensure that education was provided for the child. Horace Mann's 10th annual report in 1846 led to the first state law that made it mandatory for children to go to school. It was during that year that he supported the governor of Massachusetts in adopting the Prussian model of education for the entire state. From then on, it spread very quickly. Just after Everett installed the Prussian model in the state of Massachusetts, the governor of New York set up the very same method in 12 New York schools. By 1900, most of the compulsory schooling laws that implemented the new system had been passed. From then on, every American child grew up under the Prussian system.
In 1863 to 1865, the Freedom Bureau opened 1,000 schools for African Americans across the South. And in 1865, there were 90,000 black children enrolled in these schools. Most of the Bureau teachers were well educated, and they were funded by North organizations. When the Republicans came to power in 1867, they have opened the public school systems, but African Americans were still separated by race. Even in early 1900s, the situation did not change, and only a few African Americans enrolled in college-level work. Meanwhile, the colleges were starting to develop, and they were quickly became influential, and they have helped many young people transform from their underdeveloped situation to an urban environment. And the colleges especially promoted upward mobility by preparing ministers and provides towns across the country with a core of community leaders. Some elite colleges have become more exclusive by rounding the rich students, ministers, and other talented people.
Here are some important dates for education reform. In 1930, The Psychology of Learning is published, an educational psychology book which describes the connection between stimuli and response. In 1916, the American Federation of Teachers is founded. And also John Dewey's Democracy and Education is published. In 1990, the Progressive Education Association is founded with the goal of reforming American education. And also in 1990, all states have law providing funds for student transportations. Thanks for watching.